Alright, so we are continuing our discussion on distances on the coordinate plane. So number 3 says point F has the same coordinates as point C, except its y-coordinate has the opposite sign. Plot point F on the coordinate plane and label it with its coordinates. So let's first start by labeling what C's coordinates are. So we have 3, -5. So that's to the right 3, down 5. And so F has the same coordinates, but its y-coordinate has the opposite sign. So here's its y-coordinate. So that means that F is over 3, but instead of going down 5, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, up 5. So here was F. So same coordinates, but their y's are just opposite sides. So how far away are F and C from the x-axis? So here's the x-axis. Well, F is 5 units above. And C is 5 units below x. And what is the distance between F and C? Well, if F is 5 units above and C is 5 units below, F and C are 10 units away from each other. And we can count that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are 10 spaces away from each other. And we can just imagine that as well. 5 units above, 5 units below. Go down 5 to get to 0, down 5 more to get to -5. Alright, so for number 4, point B is the same coordinates as point D, except its x-coordinate has the opposite sign. So B and D are actually already plotted for us. Let's just go ahead and write their coordinates. So D is 4 left, 3 down. So -4, -3. And B is 4 to the right, but still 3 down. So once again, similar looking coordinates, but their x-coordinates have the opposite sign. So how far away are B and D from the y-axis? So D is 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, and B is 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. And so once again, if this is 4 units to the right of 0 or of the y-axis, and this is 4 units to the left, then altogether they are 8 units away from each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units away from each other. Okay. Alright. Finding distances on the coordinate plane. So first we need to label each point with its coordinates. So B looks like it is 3 5/10 or 3.5 over and 2 up. I want to say 3.52. A looks like it is back 1.5 and up 2. So A, we're going to say -1.52. C looks like it is over 3.5 and down 3. -3. D is also over to the right 3.5, but is down, looks like 4.5, 4 5/10. Negative because it's down. And this is to the left, -1.5 or -1.5, and down -4.5. Alright, so points B and C. So B, once again, is 3.5. Oops. Ignore that extra little parenthesis I added there. And C is 3.5, -3. So how much distance do they have between each other? We could simply just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again, that's because B is 2 units above, C is 3 units below. Put those together for a total of 5 units. Now points D and B, so once again we're working with B, which is 5.2, and D, which is 3.5, -4.5, and so they share that x coordinate, but their y's are different. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. Or 6.5 units away from each other. So once again, you just combine the two distances, right? So 2 units above and 4.5 units below, put them together for a total of 6 5/10 units away from each other. And now D and E. So we know D is 3.5 and -4.5, and we know that E is -1.5 and -4.5. So these ones share a y coordinate but have different x coordinates. And I would have to go 1/2, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5 total. Okay, so once again, because if this is 3.5 units to the right and this is 1.5 units to the left, we put those together and that gives us a total distance of 5. Okay, and we can show that as that's 5. Which of the points are 5 units away from -1 5/10, -3? Okay, so let's see here. -1 5/10, -3 would be here. And now who is 5 units away from that? Looks like it would have to be C. 1.5 and then 3.5. Okay. Which of the points are 2 units away from 5/10 and -4 5/10? So that would be here. 2 units away. 1, 2. So that one would be point E. And once again, if we look at Y, if we look at those shared coordinates, so right here, same thing as this previous problem, we did 1 and 5 units to the left and 3 and 5 units to the right, and we put those together for a total distance of 5. And then down here, we had 0 and 5/10 to the right, and then 1 and 5/10 to the left for a total of 2. Plot a point that is 2.5 units from A and 9 units from E. Label that point M and write down its coordinates. Okay, so here's A. And so it has to be 9 units from E. So then we've got to go a little bit further up. I could imagine we're going to go 1, 2.5. And that would be right here. And that would be -1.5, 4.5. That's M. And if we look at y, so we can already see that this is 1, 2.5 units from A, and then from E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, sorry, we're at a half. So a half, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Priya says there are exactly 4 points that are 3 units away from -5, 0. Lynn says, I think there are a whole bunch of points that are 3 units away from -5, 0. Do you agree with either of them? Sorry, I'm not showing this. So, I agree with Lynn. Because you can actually go in more directions than up, down, left, and right. Right now, we're just working with up, down, left, and right, but in theory, you could actually go like diagonal. There is such thing as like diagonal distances, which we're not going to touch on this year, but in theory, there are more than just 4 units that are 3 units away from something, or more than 4 points that are 3 units away from something. All right, so lesson summary. Once again, we've got this table that represents the quadrants that we mentioned before. Quadrant 1 is all positive. Quadrant 2 means you have a -x, so on and so forth. And so, important to read this over. Just remembering that when we talk about distance, we can just measure that on the coordinate plane.